A very good morning to all the teachers, professors of various institutes, people from industries, students. Today, our session will start just now. Before that, I like to take Professor R.P. Saini sir to give. Can we record the session, sir?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. So it is my pleasure to invite our today's first keynote speaker, Professor R.P. Saini sir. He is an eloquent speaker and he is currently working as professor in Department of Hydro and Renewable Energy at IIT Roorkee. He obtained his Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical from University of Mysore, Masters and PhD from IIT Roorkee. He has research and teaching experience of more than 30 years and has been working in research areas of renewable energy, especially in hydropower, solar, and wind energy. He is also working as MNRE, that is Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Chair Professor in Renewable Energy, Government of India. He has published numerous works in journals, conferences, and also have consultancy works. He has been granted 2 patents in hydropower turbines. Thank you, sir. With this, I like to invite Professor R.P. Saini sir to deliver his talk. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Doctor. It's my privilege to be here to interact with you and your this wonderful numbers of participants in this international short-term course on microgrid opportunity, renewable energy sources, and sponsored by TQIP Third and organized by the Albagi Educational Institute. So today, this particular time, I think is a
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I have one request. Means I need your permission. Can I record the lectures if you allow us?
yes, yes, you can.
Okay, sir.
You
Thank
can.
you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. So, of course, this time, this is a very tough time. I don't know, this many participants may be sleeping during my lecture, but by uh, just I'll try that. I'll not let them sleep. That is my concern over here at this time. So the topic has given to me that it's the development of small hydropower in India. So basically, we'll start with the what is the hydropower. Next slide, please. So I think this among all renewable energy sources, uh, hydropower is considered, I think, in energy conversion system is the best, because if you convert one form of renewable energy into useful form of energy, mostly in electricity, so the their device or their system have very poor efficiency, conversion efficiency. But among all these renewable energy sources, the technology or the system related to hydropower has the maximum, best efficiency. It's about almost about 80%, 90%. So that is the again advantage of that. And as far as the concept concern of hydropower, basically the form of energy, I'm talking about this traditional hydropower, because nowadays there are other hydropower also, non-conventional hydropower also. I'll be discussing 2 minutes, 3 minutes in the last for that technology, that emerging technology. But here I'm just presenting the traditional hydropower stations. So in that case, the basic form of energy is in the form of potential energy. The static energy is there, and that energy is to be converted into kinetic energy And then this over this turbine, which will develop the mechanical power, and that mechanical power is used to derive the generator. And that in this schematic or this sketch or this figure, it is shown that this the water under head, it is flowing through, because from the reservoir or the water from a higher altitude or level, then only we have the potential energy, has to be transported to the turbine. Turbine will be at a lower level, so that potential energy is converted into kinetic and mechanical energy over the turbine, and this the rotary motion of that power at the shaft we will get, and the shaft is connected to the generator. Generator basically, generator generates the electricity, so it needs some power. So that power is developed by turbines. And then that beauty is that this again this water is not consumed in the water in the turbine. The same amount, only potential energy we tap, other the quantity of water remain as it is, and again it flows to the steam to the downside. Next. So slightly, if you compare this the solar energy, this, here some problem is there. That means some tedious task you have to do in order to estimate the hydro potential. Why I'm talking about in comparison of solar energy? Because solar energy, whatever parameter you measure with the instrument, that is itself a power. But in case of this hydro, we have two different parameter which are needed to be measured, and then we have to use a power equation, and finally we can estimate the hydro potential. That's power, and basically it is the multiplication of the head. Head is the height. That means from the water is coming to the turbine. So that head, as it is indicated in the figure, and the quantity of water. So the is a basic equation mgh only, but based on the parameter we measure, we have to convert in the convenient form, so that finally the expression becomes 9.81 into Q into H into overall efficiency of the system, which is very high in this case. So here, that means if you use this power equation simply, then if you measure head in meter and discharge in cubic meter per second, that's 1000 liter per second, then multiply the efficiency, that directly comes in the kilowatt. So that means based on the parameters head and discharge, we multiply that with the factor, and then finally we'll get the hydro potential. Next, please. The technology related to hydropower. Again, one more thing we have to decide, that which capacity you are working with. Because if you, again, I'm comparing this with the solar energy. That means if you compare this technology with the solar photovoltaic, so I think we should not compare this, because there's no question of, there's no point of sizing in case of solar photovoltaic. It is available in the modular form. That means if you want to install a small, you want to generate a small power, then you install few modules. If you want to in megawatts, increase the number of modules. The cost will be directly proportionate to the size of the system. But that is not in the case of the hydro. Hydro, if you talk that, let me talk about it. The concept is small hydro, and there is a concept of a large hydro, and there is a concept of mini hydro, micro hydro, pico hydro. What is the difference in that? So I tell you that as far as the technology concerned, as far as the system concerned, it is the same, because power has to be converted, potential energy has to be converted into mechanical power and then electrical power. If you want to develop 1 kilowatt or few watt, you have to follow this route. That means first you have to convert into mechanical energy. There's no way. That means if you want to generate a small quantity of electricity through hydro, you take 1 glass of water, put some chemical, and electricity will. No, you have to follow this path, so that there's no problem in that. But the problem is that means the approach should be adopted in different manner. The approach I'm talking about, that means if you are working in a large hydro, you are working in a small hydro, you are working in a pico hydro, micro hydro, so slightly approach you have to adopt different. That means if you are expert in large hydro, that means you are a hydro engineer and you have been working with large hydro, and if I ask you, please design a system which will be of a few kilowatt, so I don't think that you are the expert. You may not be the expert because you always think large. So you cannot imagine that small size of the things. So that means everything will be destroyed. So I think that way the policies, the government policies, or the technology are also classified based on the size. So that is the term. So suppose somebody asks you what is the use of classification. So I think there's we can say that means it will be cost effective way to develop the hydropower if we classify and develop the system according to this large hydro, pico hydro, because approach will be different. And the another reason is that because some governments like in India, this Indian government, they want to give the incentives. They promote this sometimes the different nowadays. Solar energy has been promoted, and hydro is a little bit behind the. I think I don't know what happened to hydro nowadays, but so earlier, so they have the incentive. So that means they must decide some capacity, that up to that capacity they will decide to give the subsidy. So that is that will be the way. You can say the reason to classify that. So, and this is the dynamic term. I think dynamic term I am talking about that today India defined that a hydropower plant whose capacity is up to 25 megawatt, that means 25,000 kilowatt. That means if you are generating power in a hydropower station up to 25,000 kilowatt, so that plant will be considered under small hydro. And if it is 25.5 megawatt, so that means it will be considered as a large hydro. As far as the technology concerned, even sometimes if you put the you run the turbine, this turbine at this to over capacity, turbine can run on that, but the plant will be considered as a large hydro. Then what is the fun in that? The things is that means if the facilities, the government subsidy is applicable only for small hydro, so that means your plant whose capacity you say that is 25 megawatt, you will get the advantage. If it will beyond 25, you will not get the advantage. So that means some developers, they play that also. That means they say that their plant is 25 megawatt. Anyway, that is there. So I think this is the reason that we have to classify that. And that's why I'm talking about this dynamic term. So I think this government, they are planning that 25 megawatts should not be any capacity. It should be 100, or there should not be any small hydro definition. It should be hydro. Hydropower is hydro. Anyway, so and when we started our career in 1980s, that time 3 megawatt only was the capacity of the plant for small hydro. Then it increased 10 megawatt, then 12, then 15, then now the 25 megawatt. So I think this is that's why I'm talking about that. This term should not be confusing to that. It's just to have the facility. Otherwise, technology remains same for all sides of the system. Next, please. Next. Again, this we have the further classification, and these classifications are available. This classification is available with the government. Again, that means we have the micro hydro, pico hydro, and the mini hydro, and the small hydro. So again, there we have the classification here. In the government, because in other countries, any hydropower stations whose capacity up to 5 kilowatt only. I'm talking 5 kilowatt only. So there they call this a pico hydro. But in our case, we consider that category is a water mills category. Again, these water mills come from here. So that means in ancient time, when this mankind came to know that how we can develop the power from hydro, so then they developed this technology. This is water mills. That is, I think you might have heard in the hills. Still they are working. Still they are working. It's a very crude technology. So that means there are many. There's lakhs of sites are there. Thousands of sites are available in this the Himalayan belt. So that means that's a hydropower site. So you can develop the power up to 5 kilowatt on those sites. So that comes under water mills. That's micro hydro up to 100 kilowatt. Then mini hydro is 101 to 2000 kilowatt, and the small hydro, of course, it covers up to 25 megawatt. So again, there should not be any confusion. Let me tell you that why, as a technical person, I can say that why this classification is required. That if you don't suppose I'm expert to develop a hydropower of 2 megawatts, say 20 megawatt, 30 megawatt, and then you can think that I'm expert in hydro, and you can approach to me and ask me, please, I have a site whose potential is about 5-10 kilowatt, and you please design the system for me. So I think I cannot design that, because to that level I cannot go. So that means the approach is from the this scale up approach should be there. That means you have to start the water mills technology, it's a traditional water the technology, and then improve the technology towards the, because the cost will be, otherwise if you will ask the design from the this large hydropower engineer, so that system will be this large oversize, and the cost, I don't know what will happen. Next please. Dr. Rajiv, I want to know that what should be the time allotted, up to what time? Please unmute unmute you.
Up to 3:30, including the question answer for 10 minutes. Sir.
Okay, so I should stop at what time? That
3:20, 3:15, 3:20.
Okay. You please ask me stop. Otherwise, I will keep on speaking. That's my problem.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So that is, I think, please don't, my request to the participant that they should not try to sleep that, okay? Just listen properly.
Sir, they will not sleep. They will not sleep.
Okay. So now that's, I think what we have discussed, what is the concept of hydropower, and how we classify, how we term that the small hydro, because we are using small hydro. Then next we come to the technology. That I tell you here that because it's not like a solar PV only. It is, I think, tough engineering is required, because what you have to do, resource is somewhere, you have to generate the electricity at some place, at some location, decided location. You have to transport the huge quantity of water from upstream to the downstream or to the hydropower station. You have to convey, you have to transport that quantity. And this terrain or the path is very difficult. So that means typically in such a short period, this 1 hour, one and a half hours, I try to explain the overall things. So that means it is better again that we should classify the components of a hydropower station into different categories. So we classify that. One is the civil works, the second is the hydromechanical equipment, and third is the electrical equipment and the controls and transmission distribution. So I think as a thumb rule, I'm telling you that how you can classify which components will come under civil works, which will come under hydromechanical. So I think it's a thumb rule definition. I think it is not quoted somewhere. You should not quote that also. But it's just to understand that. So I can say that any component which remains in contact with water and having no moving parts, so all the components will be considered under civil works. So civil engineers is required there. Of course, in pico hydro, micro hydro, sometimes not engineer is required, a common sense person is required for that. So that means the components which remains in contact with water and no moving parts, it will not have any moving parts. So I think you can validate, because there are so many components. Diversion is there, intake there, the water you have to transport. So these components I cannot discuss in detail, but you can see that they are stationary and remains in contact with water. So all these components from diversion weir to the hydropower, this house building, and finally the tail race. So these comes under civil works, and the hydromechanical equipments are those components which remain in contact with water and having moving parts. So I think that that means sometimes how I can say that, that means you can say that's a pipe. Pipe is penstock we call here, and there's a control valve is connected with the penstock. So if that this valve is connected to the penstock, so we can say that both are made of steel. So it may be either mechanical equipment or it may be civil. But I tell you, the penstock will come to the civil works because it doesn't have any moving part, and the control valves will come under hydromechanical equipment. And of course, the hydro turbine. This is considered the heart of any hydropower station. And the third is that means any component which cannot be in contact with water, that is electrical components. It's a simple classification. I think it's a thumb rule like that. The next, and I tell you that because the power equation consists of discharge and head. So that means the power is the multiplication of these two parameters. And you can say that if H is 1 and Q is that discharge is 100, so you will get the 100. And if the head is 100 and discharge is 1, that will also that is the some problem with this hydropower, dealing with the hydropower is potential. So in that case, accordingly, when sites are available, because potential is there at some site, huge quantity of water will be there, but fall will be less. And at some site, like in hills, so their water in streams will be limited, but elevation, this altitude and the head will be more. So that means based on that, that's why I'm talking about this. This is difficult because the technology will be different. All the components in technology will be different. So here I'm talking about the sites further can be classified as high head, low discharge, medium head, medium discharge, and low head, high discharge. I think this is the typical is a hilly base. We can have the high head, low discharge. And next, please. This is the site is a low head, high discharge because you know that the canal network in canal they are made for carrying the water for some other purpose, but still in some canals head will be there. That head can be tapped. So that means the huge quantity of water, but at low fall. So that is this canal base. These sites will be low head, high discharge. Next, please. Nowadays, if we talk of the small hydropower, especially, so large hydro, then the question is, what is the difference between, because large hydro, we always consider the conventional site or the conventional hydropower station. What we did in the past, that we created the potential. We created the potential by creating the head, stopping the water, create the large reservoirs. So the huge quantity of water is stored at a high elevation, and then you allow that water through the turbine so that you can generate the electricity. So that means I'm not going to cover that what is the disadvantage and what is the problem. The environmental problems are there to have the large hydro. Nowadays, everybody is talking about that they are not good for environment. So that means the problem is the submergence of the land and the displacement of the peoples from that locations. So that these are the environmental problem. So that means nowadays this large hydro through creating the potential through building of the dams is totally stopped. But still some dams are there in India which are not made for, which are not built for hydropower. They are just for other purpose, storing the discharge to supply the water to the cities or the area. So what there's already reservoirs are there, but what they do, when the requirement of water is there in that locality, they release the water from the reservoir. So that release of water under pressure. So what is there? That means this concept is that a dam toe hydropower station. Dam toe means when you release the water, that water should be released through the turbine, so that the potential can be tapped and the quantity of water will be the will go to your place. So that means these plants we consider the medium head and medium discharge. Next, please. So now this is the figure. I think this is again dynamic values I'm talking about, because it may be after sometimes the 22,000 megawatt, and earlier 5 years back it was only 15,000. So that means that this table can give us some idea about the potential of identified potential of a small hydropower in India. Next, please. This is then I think you can go through, because notes will be with you, that this it has the idea about the sites, how many sites we have. Okay, next slide. Yeah, so this is again I think I have taken from site. You can have some idea that which state is having rich in hydro potential, especially in small hydro I'm talking about. The large hydro is not taken in this consider, and the small hydro is 25 megawatt capacity, plant capacity. Next. Yes. So I'm repeating this slide here, but because I want to connect this potential. So the first requirement, even I used to tell to this conventional teaching, that whenever you deal with this renewable energy resources, so please consider, that means if you are the design engineer, so that means consider three points at the same time. One is you must know that what is the potential, what is the this energies available to you, and what is the requirement, what is the end use, in what form. Especially in solar energy, you have to decide in the beginning that whether you need the thermal energy or electricity, because the system will be different. So here we always say that you can use the mechanical power, that is a very small capacity. Otherwise, the end use is that means the final form is the electricity only. But the potential estimate is very important. I think this is the important for the success of any hydropower station. What happens, because when you investigate the site, when you survey the site, so in that case head can be fixed. That means the head can be fixed. Okay, you can say if water is there at this level and I am going to put my plant at this level, so that means that height will be fixed, and you can measure that easily, you can estimate that easily. But the problem is the discharge is the problem, because it is it's time dependent. Of course, it's not that time dependent as the solar energy, but still it's a seasonal, because in the runoff river plants, this discharge, the quantity of water is continuously varying throughout the year. So that means which quantity of water you will consider to design the system, because the turbine size or the equipment size cannot be varied seasonally. It will be fixed one. So under what discharge capacity you will fix the plant capacity, that is tedious task. And this is tedious task, time consuming also, and there are the chances of committing so many mistakes in that also. So there are some techniques are used in order to estimate the discharge. So I think now why I'm showing this, because we have to estimate how much capacity you have to you are going to design the system, what capacity of the plant should be there, because it will depend upon the head and discharge. Head can be fixed, slightly variation will be under some condition, but the discharge is varying too high, from zero, sometimes 0 to the 1,000 liter per second. So you cannot design the system zero head. So now next. So I think that in the survey, the first-hand survey, because the sites are remotely located, so that we can have these maps, this topics we consider in the civil engineering. So in that case, we have some idea about what are these locations of the site conditions. So that means initially topo sheets are used. In that case, what we can estimate, that means we can locate the time, because all the streams are marked in that in the topo sheets. So you can see that at what location you want to fix the plant. I'm talking about initially, because you cannot go and search the site in hills and Himalayas and keep on going there and no. First hand, you have to just identify these sites, potential sites on the maps. Maps are available. So in that case, you can fix 2 points and then estimate that, okay, this much head I'm getting. It's not that correct. Then you have to go that side to have the detailed survey you have to conduct. But initially you can decide, okay, that much head is available. Then what is the water quantity you can either, let me tell you, that means when you go for the higher capacity plant, so that means you have to measure the discharge in that stream for 3 years, 2 years, at least 3 years, 2 years, it is recommended. And you go the megawatts, large hydro, that's 10 years data is required. So in that case, but I don't have that mechanism, but I want to know that how much energy I can get this. So in the topo sheet, there's a things, that means you find out the area of the this catchment area of that stream, particular stream, and that there's a models are available. The researchers, they have developed the models for a particular area. So that means you can find out the area as it is marked in the under this black line. So that area can give the actual area in kilometer square and multiplied by the, or you can say the index you have to use, and then finally you will get the liter per second or the cubic meter per second discharge in that stream. So that is the basic thing I'm talking about. That this is the approach to start the hydropower station. Next, please. Yeah, that's why I'm talking about that. These lines are drawn from the maps. So from the upper point to the lower point, so that means head, because the contours are there, their values are given. So that means if we can say that this the meter head will be available. Next. Okay, so now that I tell you that how you can decide the capacity, plant capacity. I tell you that at least 1 year or 2 years you have to measure the daily discharge. You have to measure. What is that? That means a stream is flowing. So what you have to install a flow measuring instrument. Mostly where we do nowadays, this other ultrasonic types, cheap instrument also available. But every day for a fixed time, you have to measure that how much quantity is flowing in that is a volume is per unit, that is a discharge I'm talking about at that particular. And for all the months, that how many value, 30, 31 or 20, 28 values will be there. And in a month, in a year, so you have to measure the daily discharge for a year, at least 1 year I'm talking about. So in that case, those data, then next exercise, it is okay, or I think Rajiv?
No, it's absolutely okay, Professor. It's absolutely okay, no problem.
Yeah, because I'm not used to teach in air. I always try to, in my class, I always try to connect the participants or the things. But here I don't know what is happening. So anyway, so please you can interrupt me that if I'm going beyond the things, yes, or you feel boring. So you please ask me that, okay, change the topic. I'll change the topic.
Sir, it is interesting.
It's okay. Okay.
It's interesting, sir.
Right, sir. So that means so these values will be available for a year. So next step to deal with these values, you please take 10 days average. 10 days average. That means how many value you will have in a month? 3. And in total 12 months, 36 value. And these 36 values very important. And I tell you that finally you will have of the discharge value 36 value. And if you really, because I tell you that discharge may be 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So that means for each year you will have 36 value. That is 10 days discharge value. Okay, so to just explain the exercise, to discuss the exercise, I'll take only 1 year only. Okay. So next slide. So these are all the months. So now this is so 10 daily discharge. Is that, I think for each month you have 3 values. Okay. It's okay. Next.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is all the 36 values from January to December, and for each year 2005 to like this. Okay. And take now, if you have many years values, then you have to take the average. So finally you will have the 36 values. Okay. Next. So these are the things, these will decide the thing. Now the next step, third step is there. All the 36 value you please put in the descending order. Descending order. So the largest value will be top and minimum value will be less. So now you have to draw a curve that is known as the civil engineers, they must be very familiar with that. That's a flow duration curve. So in the flow duration curve, I think exercise you can do, but the concept is that means if I have descending these values in descending order, so I can say that the maximum value will be available for a longest period or the smallest period. It's a smallest period. And the minimum value, if I want to suppose I'm interested to develop a system for zero discharge. So how many days I can get the this zero discharge? All the 365 days. So that is the concept. So I think the percentage availability is nothing but, it is that the second column, it is nothing but 1 by 36, 2 by 36, 3 by 36, 4 by 36, and the finally 36 by 36. That the 100%. So that the minimum value you can get. I think you got it what I'm talking about. So that this is the concept. That means if you want to design a system that your turbine should run all throughout the year, 365 days. So what will you just take the minimum discharge value. Other values will be higher. So that is the concept I'm telling you. This is exercise. It's a tutorial. Okay. So that means next, I think this curve will be there. Next slide, Raj. Next. This is all the 36 value I'm talking about. So this is the curve. So I think now this is very important. So again, this is based on experience. I'm telling you that when this small hydropower concept came in India, this concept came in India, like in the 80s, I'm talking about. Earlier, there was no concept of small hydro. There's a large hydro only. So that time, it was decided that we should not take this percentage of time not less than 80%. Otherwise, system will not be cost effective. That time, use that value. But because that time there was no concept, all the technology was from the large hydro. That is the biggest problem. Nowadays, because the technology evolved after 20 years, 25 years, now the people say that if my plant has this dependability of 30% only, 40%, it will be beneficial. So that means from this x-axis, you can say, I'm talking about that. What will be let me tell you that what is the meaning of that? Suppose you take this 10% dependability. So what will be the maximum discharge will be? That will be around the 60 QMAC. And 60 QMAC into head, you will have the large capacity plant. But how many days it will run? Only 10%, 20% of the total year. So that means rest of the period plant will be stopped. So that means if I consider that the 100% dependability, so that means that you can see that the small quantity power will be generated. So in that case, so there you have to optimize that. So I am giving the thumb rule. Thumb rule is that means even if you take the dependability 40% nowadays, so your plant will be cost effective. Okay. So that means that corresponding to a 40% or 30% or that depends upon that, even 30%. 40%, then you take that corresponding discharge, multiply the head and efficiency, that will be the plant capacity. So now the plant capacity is fixed. It's okay.
Yes, sir.
Next, now that we will talk about the technology. So as I told you in the beginning that all the components are classified into categorized into three: the civil works, hydromechanical equipment, and electrical equipment. So quickly, because I have to cover all hydro. अगर में सागर वाली बात है तो बड़ी problem हो जाती है. So, in that case, so I just take the civil works. The concept is that you have to transport the water, which still have the potential, with minimum losses. You have to transport that water from the intake. Intake can be a reservoir, intake can be the diversion of the canal or diversion of this river. So from there you have to carry the water to the turbine, up to turbine, with minimum losses. That is engineering. I think if you are a common sense engineer, you can apply your mind. So that
Yes.
your focus should be that I have to transport that water to the turbine where the turbine location is there with minimum losses. आप उस पे ट्रक लगाइए, गाड़ी लगाइए, टेम्पो लगाइए, वो आपकी बाल्टी से लाइए, जैसे लाइए. I think
Yes.
this I'm just light mode I'm talking about. So that means your system, your components should be designed in that way that minimum losses there and the cost effective also. Okay, so that civil works is over. Now the hydromechanical equipment, that's the again problem with hydromechanical equipment. Why? The most important component is the turbine. I used to tell this turbine is the heart of any hydropower system. Heart, because that is the machine which convert the basic form of energy into the main form of energy, this mechanical energy, which will be responsible to drive the generator. So that means you have to think about the efficiency of the turbine. And what is the problem I'm talking of? I'm telling you here, the problem with the turbine is that it's selection. Why I'm talking about? Because the site, the classification, you have different kind of sites. I think you understand that high head, low discharge, medium head, medium discharge. Okay, so that means Pardon?
Which you have already classified in the earlier slides.
Yeah, that's that. So here that is important because notice the single type of hydro turbines cannot be fitted for all kind of this site. So that means you have to deal with different type of turbines. So I think in academic, I think you have discussed to the students. You have to tell the students, okay, the turbines are classified in based on their working principle, impulse type, reaction turbine. So many classifications are there. So I am just giving the thumb rule here. I think this is the I'm feeling that if I just discuss those formulae here and you teachers dealing those, you will say यार क्या बता रहा है ये तो वो हम पढ़ ही रहे हैं उसमें, तो मैं वो नहीं बता रहा हूँ आपको, आप बता रहा हूँ वो क्या है. If you just listen to me and keep these ideas or this concept, and when you read that, I think it will be easy and it will be beneficial to students also. Yes, so I think I'm telling you, so that means I don't know what is the classification of hydro turbine, but I know because I have three different type of sites. So I must have three types of turbine for each site, because the one type of turbine I cannot put in another category. So based on that, we can classify the hydro turbine into three categories. One is, I can say, basically impulse type turbine. This is Pelton turbine, high head, low discharge, and the medium head is Francis turbine, and finally this is Kaplan turbine. I think थोड़ा तेज चलना पड़ेगा मुझे. चलिए next. ये मैंने बोल दिया है कि उसमें शॉर्ट में बोल दिया है. चलिए बहुत आगे बहुत बातें हैं आज बात करने की. ठीक है, चलते रहिए, चलिए कोई बात नहीं. नेक्स्ट टरबाइन पे आ जाइए. ठीक, सो ये भी आप सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी आप पढ़ लेंगे इसको. नेक्स्ट And I just, if somebody really interested to discuss some particular component, so please, he can discuss me even or in after that class. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Next. So this is the things I'm talking about. Let me discuss all kind of turbine in a few sentences. So in that, as I told you that why we have three type of turbine, because the requirement is there, site conditions are different. So I think the first, we have the high head low discharge. So in that case, the Pelton turbine is suitable, and this Pelton turbine is totally based on this impulsive force. Impulsive force means all the potential energy has to be converted into kinetic energy before it enters over the rotor. This is a runner I am calling this. Okay, through the nozzle. So inside the water will be atmospheric pressure. It's open. Agar aap, if you want to run the Pelton turbine in open, this runner, so it will develop the same power. It will not, the power will not be affected. Only thing, casing is required just to avoid the splashing of the water inside the building. Otherwise, there is no function of the things. So I think next time kabhi hua to, I think it's a very, very simple way to design the things. So here I cannot, otherwise other things will be there. So next. This is also, we have multi jet also. I tell you what is the constraint that when I'm talking about the simplest turbine. So what is the constraint? Constraint is that in that the water has to flow through a nozzle. Nozzle can be multiple, but through a nozzle. Water emerging from the nozzle has to strike over the single bucket of the turbine at a time of the runner. So that means there is a runner having number of buckets. I think you can see that the buckets, number of buckets. So the problem is that the water quantity which is going to the nozzle, and the potential energy is converted into kinetic energy, and that jet has to strike over the single bucket at a time. That is the condition of Pelton turbine. So in that case, if you have the large quantity of water under the same head, so the nozzle size will be bigger, and then what you can think that the size of the bucket will be bigger, and then what will be the size of the runner.
Yes, sir.
So that means after certain limit, you cannot use that turbine, particularly in relatively higher discharge. So then you have to go for another turbine. And the another type turbines are known as a reaction turbine. And in reaction turbine, the first turbine is a Francis turbine. I think you go, okay. Next.
Sir, here I have one question. Like here you have you have shown the in this picture.
Nozzles, yeah.
Yeah. Sir, there is any angle we have to maintain for this?
Yeah, we have to maintain this because it's a purely tangential type flow. Flow is purely tangential. Tangential means the water coming from the nozzle has to will go to that runner or in the tangential direction, and coming out from the tangential direction. You got a tangent. Runner is a circle, so that means that angle has to be zero angle. Zero angle means relative to the edge of the bucket. You got it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's a bucket, splitter is there. There is a splitter, that splitter angle. So that means you have to, jet will hit to the splitter, So that means it should be in the line of that splitter. And it has to be reversed. It has to be deviated 180 degree. So,
yes, sir.
आप मुझे कहते हैं 6 बजे तक बोलते रहिए तो मैं बता देता हूं.
It was just in my mind when I
आपने ना तो anyway, yes, I think there's an angle in turbine. I tell you, everything is angle. It's a deviation. It's a velocity difference, and in velocity difference, it's not necessary that you change the velocity by quantity. Direction. It's a direction. Let me tell you another type turbine, Francis turbine. Okay, next turbine. Next slide. Yeah, this here. So I think in this turbine, whatever I told you, that means the water in the jet, in the Pelton turbine coming out with the speed, with the velocity, and it's hitting. It looks like that it's hitting. Very simple to understand. But in this Francis turbine or reaction turbine, no hitting business, no hitting. ऐसा नहीं है कि पानी हिट करेगा रनर चलेगा. No, it's just entering from inlet and coming out from the through the draft tube, and it is changing the direction only. It's changing the direction only, and due to that only this I think Newton's third law of motion. That means the potential which you have initially, it is utilized to change the direction, and when you are changing the direction, you are acting the force on the water.
Yes, sir.
Then only it will be changing the direction. It will change the direction. When you are applying a force on the water, what will water will do? It will react, and that reaction will be absorbed on the moon part. That's the runner. Very easy. I think it's very difficult. Time hota to main batata. Otherwise, it's very difficult to explain the working principle of Francis turbine. But I can tell you in that way. Okay.
Yes.
So that is the things. So here, this particular turbine is used for medium head, medium discharge, because we have only one flow control mechanism. Because here we have to provide the direction of the flow, and this direction of the flow means you need some mechanism to that mechanism, the guide vanes, movable guide vanes. Only one mechanism. Next, please. This is the axial flow Kaplan turbine I'm talking about. I think my क्या करें कैसे बोलेंगे just show me the previous slide. Go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I tell you that the both figures look similar, but the difference is that this Francis turbine is a mixed flow. Mixed flow. What the Pelton turbine I told you? Axial flow. What I told? Tangential. So tangential flow. Water hitting to the runner tangentially, coming out from the bucket tangentially. It's a pure tangential. In this case, it's a mixed flow. So what we can see that the water from this casing has to enter this runner. Runner is just between two discs, their veins. So from periphery, it enters towards the center. What is that direction? Radial.
Yes, sir.
And then comes out because
Radial.
this runner from the bottom, it is open in this orientation I'm talking about. So that means going from periphery towards center and then coming out parallel to the shaft. So this is axial direction. So the flow direction is in mixed. Mixed means radial to axial. So that is the things. So I think the casing is just like a tire. I think this vehicle tire. Tire means not the full tire I'm talking about, this tire only, without tube I'm talking about. So what will happen? That means if you just allow the water through flowing through this tire, what will happen? Water will not go moving out. It will moving around, or it will flow toward the center only. So in this case also, so immediately runner opening will be exactly matching to the opening of that tire, this volute case I'm talking about. So from the case, yeah. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Some questions were there?
Yes, sir. One question is there. Like, what is the minimum response time of a small hydro power plant during the load shading of the grid?
This is again, I can say this that depends upon these conditions of that means that is the fastest mechanism with this hydro turbines is there. So I think it is again, you can set that fact this with the setting the governance time in that. So that means that is the variable. At some site, they specify that this should be the second. It will be in seconds. Sometimes 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 4 seconds, 10 seconds. That is the things. So that can be set according to the conditions. Next. So here I think this Kaplan turbine is nothing but it's the axial flow type turbine. It looks like that similar turbine, but what happens? The water from the casing flowing towards the shaft, but there's no runner there. Runner is below.
Yes, sir.
So that then before water flowing over the runner, it is in the axial direction, and after runner also it is axial direction. So purely axial direction. It is used for high discharge and low head. Next. This is again, it depends upon this horizontal type or it's a vertical type, and this I tell you that because this is axial type of turbine, so the problem is that you have to take the shaft out of the water passage. So that means this this S type, it's a falling S, you can see that. So this is the tubular. Of course, the casing is tube, and the runner is inside the tube, and the shaft is coming out from the tube, and then it is connected to the generator. Generator is outside the water passage. So that means to have this, to make this shape, only in horizontal turbine we can have that. And there are so many shapes are there. And nowadays, nowadays the low head turbines, this most popular turbine is the bulb turbine. With bulb turbine, that means there's no need to take out the generator out of the water passage. It is submerged in water, like the submersible pump. I think you are familiar with the submersible pump. So so it's a submersible pump. That means the turbine along with the generator is submerged in the water with the proper sealing. So there is no need to have the separate shaft or coupling or something. So that means this is the most efficient, and mostly when we started our career, it was under research. So that time that was the emerging technology. Now it is the mostly used turbine, bulb turbine. Next.
So, sir, what is the maximum capacity of this type of turbine?
In megawatts. This is 10 megawatts, 20 megawatts, 15 megawatts. One unit I'm talking about. Normally 5 megawatts.
Okay, sir.
So now I think how much time is remaining is 20 minutes. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So in 20 minutes, are you ready to how to select a hydro turbines? In 5 minutes, I'm talking about that. So
you can teach this thing.
So I think is a thumb rule. Thumb rule is if somebody asks you that I have a high head site, which turbine will be suitable? You can say Pelton turbine. You can say,
yes, sir.
Okay,
yes.
I have a low, but who will tell you that what is the value of head, which I'll say that this high head. I'm trying to confuse you. Because so far I have told you that the Francis turbine used for medium head, Kaplan turbine is used for low head, and Pelton turbine is used for high head. So if I say that if you have a if you have a head 10 meter, and for another side you have 100 meter, and if you have a side of 40 meter, so please tell me based on this knowledge which I have told you so far, which turbine will be suitable at 100 meter?
It will be for the 100 meter
Pelton, and for 10 meter. For 10 meter,
low.
Kaplan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that will be just like you are treating. If you go for some health issue to a what you call this medical store.
Yes,
so,
sir.
The medicine you are giving, he will give like this only. Without realizing, you can say, I have fever, he will give something to you. So simply so I don't want to that you should do that. Because if you go for who really knows, suppose you come to me, so then I'll ask certain, कितना temperature हुआ, कब क्या खाया, कैसे पिया आपने, रात में क्या कैसे सोए, रात में और चीजें देखी, और फिर मैं I'll tell you that before 10 meter use the Pelton turbine.
Okay.
And for 40 meter use Kaplan turbine. So this is the problem. So that means the thing is this 10 meter, 20 meter or 100 meter is a relative term, because you have not asked the 10 meter for which capacity. You'll say 2 kilowatt. So that relative to 2 kilowatt 10 meter will be higher. So that means don't start giving the medicine based on this knowledge. So a simple mechanism to select a hydro turbine is based on specific speed. Okay, there is a term, very simple term. I don't know. I can even elaborate what this, but I think remember this: the specific speed is given. This NS is the specific speed. N is the RPM of the turbine which you are going to select, and P is the capacity of the machine in kilowatt. Please just be careful about it. It will not be in watt or megawatt. It will be in kilowatt. So if you have megawatt capacity, you convert this in kilowatt, then put in this formula, in this expression. And H is in meter, right?
Okay.
So that means based on that, you can find out the value. And then range is there. Nobody will challenge you. That means if that value comes between 12 to 30, then go for Pelton. And if it is, let me tell you that it goes up to 35 for single jet I'm talking about. And if this comes 30, it comes 60. So that means 4 jet will come. Then you have to multiply this specific speed, multiply square root number of nozzles.
Okay.
And here only I'm taking of the maximum number of nozzles can be taken as 6, at the most 8 with the vertical shaft. In horizontal shaft, you can have the maximum 2 or 3, right?
Yes, sir.
There's the constraint there. So that means if you can accommodate the higher, let me tell how you can work out this. Suppose you have a plant whose capacity is kilowatt. You put that capacity in this square root. Okay. Multiply the RPM. RPM, I think you don't know. I'll tell you, that is the problem. And H you know already designed. So what you do, first you take the capacity of your plant, put square root of that capacity in kilowatt divided by H you know, take the 1.25 or 5 by 4. That factor you can determine. Now speed you assume. Now how you can assume? That is the again problem. So I tell you that there are 3, I'll not discuss much, but I think I'll just give that step by step you have to. That means ultimately turbine has to drive the generator.
Yes, sir.
So turbine doesn't have any problem in speed, but generator has some problem because it is a fixed RPM generator. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So that means if you want to drive the generator from the turbine, can you tell me that you have to drive, if you drive this directly coupled system or through belt or gearbox, which system is okay? Directly?
Directly, yes.
Directly. So once you have thought, you given the thought that I am going to drive the generator with directly coupled. So the whose RPM will be there, man? Generator RPM.
Yes, sir.
So go to the market. That for that capacity, what maximum RPM is always advantageous. I think you got it. Cost factor I'm talking
Yes,
about.
Sir. Yes, sir. For the particular generator size, how much
RPM is higher, the size will be less and the cost will be less. Right.
Yes,
so that for first option, you take the highest RPM generator which is available for that capacity. Take that RPM and multiply this factor which you have determined. You got it. So
yes,
now
sir.
this comes here. No problem. You can select accordingly turbine. Right. Now sometimes when you are dealing the low head turbine and the higher capacity, so that factor will be big. And generator you consider the 1500 RPM, and when you multiply this, it will go beyond 1000. So I tell you that you please, in any case, whatever you assume, it is not possible to build a hydro turbines whose specific speed can go beyond 1000. That is the things. Okay. You can say, okay, Kaplan turbine will be there if I have 6000 this specific speed. Okay, that is there. That's a low head high turbine. But will you get in the market? No. No turbine can be fabricated beyond 1000. I'm talking about. So ultimately, when you will assume this speed, be careful about that. It should not, this NS specific speed should not exceed beyond 1000. So what is the mechanism? You cannot reduce the power. You cannot increase the head. The only thing you can play with the RPM. You got it? Go for the low RPM generator. And if low RPM generator will not work, then you go for the gear mechanism, speed increaser. Take the RPM because this N is the RPM of the turbine. So you can have the higher RPM of generator, but low RPM turbine. Introduce the gearbox, speed increaser. Okay. If it is not there, then you go for specially designed generator, because you can say in some site you have the huge size of the machine or the generator. It's because of that they are low head, higher capacity, so low RPM generators are there. Number of poles will be more. Number of pole will be more, size will be bigger. Even then you cannot accommodate. Then last option is increase number of units, because this P can be reduced by dividing the number of units. So that this specific speed can be reduced, can be brought down up to 1,000. You got it, doctor? That's why in some hydropower station you can say there are 10 units of similar size. तो उसका ऐसा नहीं कि वो इतना अमीर आदमी है कि उसने 10 लगा ली वो एक नहीं लगा सकता था क्यों नहीं लगा सकता था क्योंकि for any value, lowest value of speed, he cannot manage to bring down the specific speed less than this 1,000. So that is the only option. You increase the number of units, because this is not the plant specific speed, it's the unit specific speed, machine specific. Okay, next. I think 10 minutes more. Hydro generators. I think in most of the cases, the synchronous generators are used. Induction generators, very few. Some constraints are there. I think this next cost estimation. I think with no problem. Okay. Next. This is also there. Job opportunities also there. I think I have provided a matrix. That means nowadays you are talking about that if you build a hydropower station, how many persons can be engaged in that? It's a labor. That's the power things. So I think next slide you can have the idea. Next slide. Yeah, you can say that for per megawatt unit, these are the manpowers required. Okay, that way. So it's average. You can estimate that nowadays. Next. These are some manufacturers, Indian manufacturers, and these are some photographs. I'll speak 10 minutes as an academic point of view, as a research point of view. Next.
Okay.
Yeah, this is again. I tell you that here only because you are talking about the microgrid. Your topic is the microgrid, so that is the problem. I think so. You have to think for the smaller capacity plant. Smaller capacity is a micro hydropower plant, and micro hydro plant. I can say that means it's not much engineering is required. It's the concept only, and a scale up approach is advantage. I think you might have heard about that. That is the danger if you go for scale down approach in engineering. Engineering is always scale up. पहले आप मॉडल बनाते हैं फिर बड़ा. अगर आप लार्ज हाइड्रो को छोटा बनाते बनाते घराट की बात करेंगे तो क्या बनेगा? You can see. So that is the scale up approach should be there in engineering. In this hydro is very much required. So that means when you talk about the smaller capacity, you think from the scale this from the bottom, you can say that don't try to scale down this technology. Next. Yeah, these are some photographs I am sharing with that. Even मैं बड़ा एंजॉय करता हूं इनको बताते हुए, पर anyway चलिए.
Once COVID will be over, we will definitely call.
Okay. देखिए क्या होता है. Let us hope कि कोविड कब जाए. Anyway, ठीक है. Okay, चलिए आगे चलिए सर. लास्ट में मैं कुछ बोलना चाहूंगा मैं. नेक्स्ट ठीक है. ये सब यहीं से अगर हम हाइड्रो चलाएं तो वो पिको हाइड्रो, माइक्रो हाइड्रो होगा, तब लार्ज हाइड्रो की. कभी लार्ज हाइड्रो का स्कोप गवर्नमेंट ने ठप किया हुआ है. There is only one scheme in hydro is a micro hydro, or this village level things still on. That means if you want to submit some proposal, submit the proposal on micro hydro only. If you are talking about large hydro, थोड़े दिन के लिए I don't know कब तक ये रहेगा. Anyway, next. So that's why I'm sharing all these things. There's a research scope in all these things. Next. This is also that. It's like a modular form. Next. चलते जाइए. Yes. So now I'm talking about this a very emerging technology, and if really somebody you want to work in hydro, So now there's a lot of scope in this. This is a hydrokinetic technology. That so far I have discussed. I think 5-10 minutes I speak the research component, or
Yes, sir.
it's better, or you, huh?
Yeah, that will be better, sir.
Okay. So that means in hydro nowadays there's an emerging technology, the hydrokinetic turbine, hydrokinetic technology. In that case, the conventionally there's no potential energy. Even I can say the zero head. Zero head practically, I don't say this is zero head, but the current is there in the, it's a flowing stream is there. The energy in the form of the kinetic energy, no static head. So in that case, if you design, and nowadays I think you just search any site, but still people are doing on that, and that system is still lying in the laboratory, but it is not coming out the site. There is a scope that you please develop this technology and try to put in the field, and then because a lot of potential in India in this canal network, or in rivers also, and many other water streams are there. So there, this technology I'm talking about. So that means please, there a lot of research is going on in this. So this is the one thing. Now that's based on the things. I just, if you want to write, I don't have this readily this slide, but if these participants can write that, that means if you want to carry the research in hydro turbines, so scope is there. That means it's related to health. As far as the efficiency concerned, there's no scope, because nowadays up to 95%, 96% conversion efficiency of the hydro turbines are reported. So that means hardly any scope to improve the efficiency of hydro turbines. But I tell you, there are some issues related to its health. There are two kind of things. The cavitations in hydro turbines, still we have to do some work in that, and this is silt erosion, abrasive erosion. Because in Himalayan belt, in India especially, or Nepal, in Europe, I don't say that there's a lot of silts are there. So that means the turbines are damaged like anything. Even in 6 months, 2 months, they have to replace the runners or the other component. So there is a scope. That means what is scope I'm talking about? There theoretical models are available, but there is a scope that some data should be collected from the site, and then the actual models which will help during manufacturing of the turbines. There is a scope in that. Okay, then cavitations effect can be this research. That is the only things, and other things that I think grid these political appliances are there. That it's a common type of, that means whatever problem you have, this integration of the this PV plant, they have more problems, but here they don't have much problems in that. And so in summary, I'm talking about the scope of research in hydropower sector is its operation and maintenance. Okay, it's operation and maintenance, because the cost can be minimized of the operation and maintenance. So I think it's okay. There's a 315 or 314 is there. So
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
बड़ा मुश्किल होता है मेरे लिए छोड़ना, तो मैंने आज थोड़ा सा.
But sir, you have given many thumb rule, or even in the books we didn't find that type of information. What are the parameters we should be? We have just do the vertical study over there.
Yes, because it's every area is just like a ocean. So I don't know. Is now you can ask me, I can give you that. But if you ask me this deliver kar do, then it's very difficult. So anyway, so I don't know interest you have, but the questions you can put related to this.
Yeah, Dr. Gufran.
Mini hydro, micro hydro, and
sir, it was a very beautiful talk. We had learned many things, such as how to distinguish what type of turbines we need to be selecting for depending on the head as well as depending on the discharge. So as well as we had learned many aspects such as the efficiency of hydro turbines. We have reached around 98%. So there is no
Yeah,
such
96,
very
96,
96%. So around 96%.
Dr. Subho.
So yes, I want to proceed
Sir,
now.
sir, can I stop the PPT here?
Can you share
Sir,
this PPT?
should I stop the PPT now?
Yeah, I think there's see the last slide. Please see the last. This is again, I think this is the hydrokinetics. It's just starting. I have just put because lot of research is going on. That next.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
And
this is
also
last.
we have.
Please, you can stop it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, sir. You have give a very detailed description in detail. Even you have teach the about the hydropower plant in a very means in a thumb way that is very useful for the faculty as a faculty as well as for engineers. Means many participants we have the from the BTech background as well as MTech and PhD and few are professors. So thank you very much, Professor Saini, for the informative and enlightening session on a small hydropower plant. I want to give a heartfelt thanks as you have accepted my invitation on a very short intimation. I want to share with the participant that he has not denied for a session even a single time. He said he will fix time for that after taking a look on his meeting calendar. Also, he has shifted his session time due to some unwanted happening on the organizers. And so all these showing that he is not only a person with good knowledge and experience in the area of small hydropower plant, he also had a lot of humanity and civilization and very supportive person. Thank you very much, sir. I'm really thankful to you for giving time and supporting for this event, make it this event successful.
Professor
Thank you very much,
Rajiv, Prince Chauhan, and Dr. Subbo and others, your colleagues, and I enjoyed. That's the
Sure, sir. We are very thankful for you because you have for us our technical fault you have shifted for your busy schedule.
Yes, sir.
Yes, actually,
We
we
are
should
very
manage
thankful
all these things.
We are very
Okay, sir.
thankful.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day.